Good morning, everybody. As you join, we ask that you please turn off your video so that we can focus on just Lee in the corner. I made it so that you guys can keep your videos, you can turn them on at the end so we can build a little community as we ask questions or join in conversation. That's totally up to you at the end. We're really excited to have everyone here today. We're going to be submitting questions through the Zoom chat. Lee and I will get to as many questions as we can throughout the presentation, so no need to save them for the end, but we will also answer questions at the end. And without further ado, I will introduce our wonderful presenter and one of my favorite colleagues at UW Human Resources, Lee Davis. Lee is a certified master training specialist and curriculum developer with a Bachelor of Science in Training, Education, and Development from Southern Illinois University. He has 30 plus years of facilitation experience, and he has instructed more than 5,000 submariners in the U.S. Navy. Lee's area of expertise are fostering interpersonal development, positioning new leaders and helping them discover their potential, identifying and clarifying decision-making strategies for both leaders and teams, and strengthening work relationships and encouraging open dialogue. We're very excited to have you, Lee, and learn from you, especially during this difficult time, and definitely keep the questions coming if anyone has any.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much. Good morning, people. How are you doing today? It is Wonderful Wednesday, and we are going to be staying grounded and rooted in love. Imagine that. What a way to start a Wednesday. Waking up rooted in love, feeling grounded, regardless of what's happening in our society. So next slide. What you're going to do today, my objective, other than what you see on the screen, my objective is that you leave differently from this virtual space than you arrived. You feel different. You understand different. You perceive different. You interrogate, you question, and you feel more magnificent. That is my personal objective. And I want you to get those energies, and I feel like you will when you leave this webinar. You will be able to discover and create a personal definition of purposeful living. It will be your own. Create a strategy for navigating through what we call turbulent times. You will be able to explain the grandness of hardship and state your authentic environment. What's really you? You'll also be able to differentiate or distinguish between mindfulness and heartfulness, as well as explain how to love yourself with all of you, which is a personal invitation for you to fall in love with yourself. Next slide, please. So purposeful living. What is purposeful living? Purposeful living is the belief, what I like to say, the conviction that you are here on this planet to do something above and beyond yourself, that you are a catalyst to help humanity evolve to their magnificence. You are here above and beyond of this merely taking care of the components of life, which are extremely important, such as making sure the family's taken care of, getting the children ready for school, making sure the plants are watered, making sure the pet has been fed and walked, making sure bills are paid. All of those are components of life. In and of itself, it cannot constitute living, because when it does and something goes awry or misaligned in one of those respects, that hurts the human being. It cripples the human beings. It gnaws away, erodes your magnificence. So this is why it's so important to create a purposeful lifestyle and have purposeful living, so nothing can intrude or enter that space. Nothing can erode who you are and how you feel. Although we are most empathetic, we are most compassionate, we are most loving at this time, more so than any other time in our history within a civilization of humanity, this has never occurred. This being not only COVID-19, this being an outpouring of compassion, gratitude, love, appropriateness, honor, and respect. That has never occurred on a global level before. So this is so amazing that this is happening. Although purposeful living is very inspirational for me, we have to decide what makes our life purposeful. And that becomes a question for you. What makes your life purposeful? It can't be the same thing. It may be, but it doesn't have to be. That's my personal definition. What was that comment, Anna? I see something. Anna, can you hear me?
Yes, it's to me, my moving arrow. Sorry, people. I am
I
answering questions on my own Zoom chat from attendees. I will try to keep the arrow at the bottom. My apologies.
Okay. I wasn't sure you were talking about the arrow on the screen.
Yeah, when I go back and forth from progressing the slide to the Zoom chat.
Excellent. Okay, next slide, please. So the components of living, I mentioned that. Now here becomes, why are we here? What gives meaning to your life? I want you to take a second to ask that question. And maybe many of you may have never asked that question before. What gives me meaning? Why am I here? If I think about something my mom said to me, she says, well, Lee, my life is for you and my siblings. I thought about that, and I was honored. That's my mom. She loves us very dearly. But the question that arose in my mind is what happens when we leave and start our own lives? Does that mean a piece of you die and wither? So what gives your life meaning? And why are you here? And whatever you select in a free choice, free will universe, whatever you decide to choose, the question becomes, when something happens in your external environment, does it shake your purpose for living? Does it make you question why you're here on this planet? Does it devalue your life's meaning? And this is why we have to remain anchored and rooted in something far bigger than us, far greater than us. We have to create a legacy within our own selves for us, just for us. That legacy is about love. Baba Muktananda said, love is the sole reason for living, the sole purpose of life. I translate that to our purpose is to enhance, to increase, to raise the vibrational energy of our space, of our community, and ultimately, if we all did that, of our planet, to raise it. And how do you raise any energy? Well, only one way. It is through love and its other hosts, compassion, the art of forgiveness, empathy, understanding, gratitude. These are the legacies, the golden nuggets, the diamonds that already dwell within us. We just have to find them and search for them. We have to discover them. We have to go within that inward journey. When we do that, we may create a different reason of life's meaning. We may decide now that we're here for another purpose. And we may decide to leave something greater than just money or wealth, but a different form of legacy. Next slide, please. How do we navigate through turbulent times? Well, the first question becomes, what constitutes turbulent times for you? That's the first question. What creates a turbulent time in your reality? And I'm waiting to hear some amazing responses. If you want to voice in, that's fine. Or if you want to just do the chat, Anna would share what your amazing, innovative, insightful thoughts are. I hear typing in virtual reality. I feel something happening.
Hi, Lee. My name is Kelsey. And I define a turbulent time right now in my family. We lost someone and another person is dying, and I'm having a really hard time with that.
My condolences, Casey. Definitely my condolences. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, that is definitely turbulent times. That is definitely turbulent times. How do we deal with that? That's such a great example and an unfortunate example that is happening. And again, my apologies and condolences to you and your family. And we bless you and send you an outpouring of love and energy. To navigate through something that horrific, especially when it didn't have to be caused, and we will come to that truth sooner or later. How do we navigate appropriately, efficiently through those most difficult times that really pulls and tugs on our emotional bandwidth to the point where it almost snaps, where sometimes waking up in the morning, we're not even sure if it's even worth it. How do we navigate through that? What are we saying to ourselves? What is our internal dialogue providing? Is it self-sabotaging dialogue? Is it giving us this opportunity to say, when I see something in my environment, I'm going to give it a nomenclature or a classification that requires me to look at life less than beautiful, less than magnificent, at a lower level of energy that makes me frustrated and just walk around full of unsavory energy? What do I do? And it's one of the most difficult things because I lost my dad last May, and a niece at the age of 19. There's nothing more difficult than the loss of a loved one. I don't think there's anything more difficult than that. And we have to be so compassionate and empathetic towards that, to be strong. So what do? We mourn, we cry, we weep, we feel sorrowful. We get through that time. We have to express that energy. We let it loose, we let it flow. We open the floodgates of all of that energy that we feel inside. We pray, we honor, we do whatever we can while they're here. So as they transition to the other side, they do so with respect and appropriateness, knowing that they're loved. After I lost my dad, I cried. I cried that day. I gave the eulogy. And I said in front of everyone that was there, today I weep and mourn, but tomorrow I will celebrate because of the legacy you left me, because of the energy that you created in this family, and because you fought the good fight and you finished the race. So I will celebrate. And we're all here together feeling that pain, the suffering. And we will not only get through it, there will be a point where we say we will soar from this moment onward as we continue to deliver all of the energies that is going through us and also that we feel. So we ask ourselves, how do we show up? You know, every morning we get up, we put clothes on. Some of us put clothes on, maybe some of us do not. I don't know. I don't live in your household. But let's just say we put clothes on. You dress yourself, you adorn yourself, you decorate yourself. So that's how we physically show up. This is a different question. How do you show up? What's your heart like? What's your energy like? What's your mindset? How do you show up when something is going awry in your life? Other than that unfortunate example, how do you show up? When something happens to a member on your team, someone arrives late, what do you do about that? How do you let that affect your energy, which in turn affect the energies of your team? So turbulent times, what is it? It's what you declare it to be. It's your own personal definition. For instance, when the sun doesn't shine, some people become outraged. For others, it's one of the best days they ever experienced. I personally know someone who doesn't like the sun to shine ever. But something that is a turbulent time, to be mindful and to be heartfelt, we need to respect other people's definition, all of them, no matter what it is. Even if we find them trifling or irrelevant or insignificant, they all are important. They have to be. This is how we honor and respect and show appropriateness towards the human being. So how do we show up? We show up with magnificence. We show up with an emotional flexibility. We show up with a bandwidth that allows us to be very receptive to the people who we lead, including ourselves. Oh, yes, we cry. Oh, yes, we mourn. But we also celebrate. Because when we look at turbulent times and we give it a definition, we may not know the outcome, but let's use COVID-19 since it's here, showing itself in all of its glory and splendor and light as it wreaked havoc, carnage, death, corruption everywhere. How do we get through that? For me, I look at the outcome because I feel in my heart and spirit, we're going through a paradigm shift. And this paradigm shift is a state of a pause for the planet. Pause is push. If you can imagine watching a movie, someone has pushed the pause button and now we have time to finally think and go within and become very introspective and to see what is really happening. We are so conditioned as a society to keep a pace, a cadence, a march, and rhythm that is so fast, it diminishes our ability to think and go within, to understand who we are, to explore that inner world. Within us, there's an inner world, there's a universe that lives within us, and we don't even know it. We know ourselves least of all the people on the planet. We know ourselves least because we don't really spend time with ourselves. Oh yes, wherever we go, we're still there. Oh yes, we respond, we react. But the question becomes, do you know who you are? So this is how we get through turbulent times, by knowing who we truly are. And you are truly magnificent. And there is nothing that you could say, there is nothing on this planet that can be done that could diminish that brilliance and to diminish that fact and that beauty. You are magnificent under all circumstances. So when you show up with that heavenly swagger. When you show up boundless, resilient, and confident because you know the outcome is going to be magnificent to match your energy. This is what we call transformational living. It is transformative because it takes us to a different space within our consciousness, within our emotional capabilities. It takes us somewhere that we have maybe never experienced or explored before, but it allows us to reach outside of who we think we are and go so deep within, we to discover something that we never knew existed. This is an opportunity, as that planet has paused, for us to do the same thing and ask ourselves, as Gaia is pruning itself, Gaia being Mother Earth, as it's looking at things that is not appropriate, that is not resonating with a compatible, loving, harmonious energy, we need to do the same thing as its children or offsprings. We need to ask ourselves, what exists in our lives that is keeping me from seeing my own magnificence and brilliance? What exists in our lives that keeps me from understanding that I am boundless and resilient, and I am multidimensional, and I have a sincere purpose that extends beyond this planet and everything that can happen to me? What can I do to magnify that? Believe in yourself. Know that you are the superhero in your own life. Know that you're the ones you have been waiting for, and now we're showing up in larger numbers, in greater numbers. There have been such an outpouring of compassion and love and gratitude. Never before in our civilization has this ever occurred to this degree, to this depth, to this dimension. Never before. There have been many things that happen, but never on a global scale. We're all in it together. Together we can, because together we stand. And when we feel this from the depths of our being, vibrating in every cell, then yes, we can get through turbulent times. We go into the center, just like the eye of the storm. That's where peace lives. That's where peace exists. We go to the center of ourselves and ask us, as we sit there and think, is there something bigger? Is there something better? Is there something more that I can do? Next slide, please. Questions to ponder. What are you currently doing to get through these turbulent times and keep your head afloat? I want to hear some of the truest answers that you got. You're in a safe space and there's emotional accessibility everywhere. Everything is guarded and purified right now. What are you currently doing to get through these turbulent times and keep yourself afloat and your team afloat? Exercising. Sleep more than I ever have slept. Nice. Sleeping is wonderful. It's fun. Meditate.
I've been going back to church.
Absolutely. Getting spiritually grounded, going back to church. Outstanding. Scrapbooking, caring. Awesome answers. Cleaning, organizing. Yoga walks, or yoga and walks. Daily Zoom with my team. Yes. Being gentle, getting outside every day. Fabulous answers, people. Gardening, creating life. Yes, yes. Music, that's deep to my soul. Taking online classes, pressure washing. All of these are superb answers, and they're very therapeutic. Very therapeutic. Working extra hours. Okay, make sure you have work-life balance. Writing, walking, baking. Spending time with my family, enjoying our loved ones. Deep breathing exercises. Oh, we got a puppy. Oh, puppies are beautiful and fun. And being grateful, smiling and being grateful. Just, heartfelt answers. Thank you so much. Playing an instrument. All of these things are so appropriate and they're necessary. This is how we as a humanity get through things. We find things to anchor us. We find things to root us. We find things that magnify our beauty and that connects us to one another, definitely during these most difficult, trying times, that allows us to go places where we emotionally have never been before. Even consciously, we've never been here. This is new territory for everyone. So this uncertainty has caused a lot of fear. And saying that, let's stay rooted and grounded. We are our own roommates. This is the first time where there has been such a spike and an increase in domestic violence, child abuse, suicidal attempts, because we are not used to being alone. We're not used to going to that secret space. Things are pulling, tugging, just really gnawing at our emotional bandwidth, our patience, at our temperament. What do? Well, this is so awesome that you have found an outlet, a diversion of spiritual nature, of awareness that allows you to center and anchor yourself so you can refocus and think about and feel about what's going to happen next as we co-create this. So one thing I like to share is that whatever happens outside of us, whatever occurs in our external environment, it's not what's happening within us. What happens within us is a personal choice on how we interpret and on how we translate the event. That choice is up to us. That's our personal choice. We have free will and free choice. And the way we translate and give definition and meaning to everything that we see determines what we experience. And whatever we experience, we call that life. So what are you doing to assist others during this time of global need? And it's actually a paradoxical question, because everything that you do for yourself automatically assists others. When you're able to shine your brilliance and your light, it automatically goes out to everyone else. Wherever you go, you bring energy. As long as you stay of good nature, even though we go through things that causes us to feel sad, as we grieve, we understand that there will be a different outcome. And the outcome is we can't stay there forever. We go through that process and that phase, but we cannot stay there for the rest of our lives. And only you can answer when it's okay to move onward, to move forward. But we cannot stay in a state where the energy does not allow us to show our brilliance, where the energy does not allow us to feel magnified and inspired, where the energy does not allow us to see the beauty that dwells within us and the beauty that dwells outside of us. We have to move onward and forward at a time that you say, it is time. So what are some of the answers that are coming in, Anna?
We have lots of amazing things. Taking friends to check in, texting friends, checking in, see how they're doing. I loved a comment from someone about celebrating May Day like they did back in elementary school, bringing flowers to neighbors.
Yes.
A lot of people are donating food to local shelters and food banks. A lot of people are just really exercising their effort to be kind and show love to neighbors, strangers, extended family,
amazing.
Friends.
Amazing. Oh, sending postcard to friends. There's nothing like a postcard. They're so personal and intimate. Outstanding.
There's quite a few talking about Zoom calls with work groups, making sure that people create time for team.
Yeah, create time.
Donating masks, donating blood.
Front line. That's so significant. Thank you for all that. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Without you, we couldn't do all of this. Every human being is so vital and responsible for us overcoming COVID-19 and getting through this paradigm shift as a humanity. Donated to the student. They need it. They need it. Thank you so much. Helping my daughter with, I'm assuming, homework. Outstanding. We're going to go to the next slide. Creating a balanced self-worth. So these are some of the things that I do. I love painting, I love writing, I love singing, but I will never sing in front of anyone because my singing is atrocious. It is not good. It just makes me feel good. And I like to dance, nor will I dance in front of everyone because I'm very uncoordinated, but I enjoy movement. I love movement. Helping others, I like volunteering. I volunteer at the Lead HEARTSHIP, and it's a national organization for women who are been out of the workforce for an extended period of time, who have been abused. It's really important to give back in whatever way you feel necessary, in whatever way that inspires you, that makes you feel connected. I also believe in exercising. So exercising for me is not just physical movement. It involves nutrition. It involves spiritual rootedness and anchoring, where there may be yoga, martial arts. It involves understanding who I really am. It involves culminating all of those things together. It's not just one thing, there's a synergy. It's so amazing how if we isolate something, it responds so differently when it becomes part of the whole. And this is who we are. We're whole human beings. So the things we do needs to be holistic. There needs to be a synergy, a balance, so we can feel that wonderful balance. Self-worth, other than COVID-19, even when COVID-19 passes, and we will get through this, and it will pass. A lack of self-worth is another pandemic. Fear is another pandemic. These two pandemics have been with us since time immemorial, for eons. So COVID-19 has never been the first pandemic. There's been other pandemics, and I just mentioned them. A lack of self-worth and fear. And this is why we're having this conversation, not just because of COVID-19, but so you can remain balanced no matter what we go through as an individual, as a community, as a nation, as a society, as a globe. You can remain balanced. There may be so many things that may shake your bandwidth. It doesn't have to be COVID-19. It could be a child leaving home. It could be a pet that ran away. There's so many things, or a loss of a loved one, that shakes your anchoring at the root. But we still must stand. We still must go on. We still must fight the good fight. We still must release our magnificence. We still must make these positive affirmations to stay rooted and grounded. And one of my favorite affirmations that I created for myself They are personal, they are intimate. You need to create your own because what comes from you is made for you, tailor-made, customized, unique, just for you. There's no greater teacher within you than the teacher within yourself. There's no greater master that exists on this planet than the master that dwells within you. We need to discover who that master is and get to know it and become wonderful partners with it for the rest of our lives. My favorite affirmation is that there is no force on this planet strong enough to put shackles on a convicted heart or suppress a determined mind, except oneself. So gallantly, I march to victory. And I say that no matter what I'm going through. And it just inspires me, it makes me feel rooted and grounded. But we need to create an affirmation that allows us, under all circumstances, it wipes away some of the turmoil. It wipes away some of the pain, some of the hurt. It wipes away even some of the guilt. Let us be compassionate and loving and forgiving to ourselves first and foremost. To ourselves first and foremost, so we are in a position to do that to others. Next slide, please. The grandness of hardship. Hardship. How many of you like hardship? Show of hands. Let honesty speak out. How many of you love hardship? Maybe many of you may say, no, we want life to be clean. We want it to be smooth. In fact, here's a good question for you. When you wake up in the morning, you get yourself ready, take care of the family, pets, plants, and you get to work and your team, and you stay at your job all day and not one thing occurred that allowed you to sit back and say, what should I do? Or that stretches how you perceive a certain event, that stretches how you perceive a certain reality. Nothing stretches you. Nothing happened. It was a calm day. How many of you like that? Because I remember I used to like that. But then I discovered I never grew. Every time my days were full of monotony, nothing happened. There was no fires to extinguish with my team. Everyone got along, which is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But I never grew. So hardship allows us to grow, to develop. It allows us to expand. It allows us to enlarge who we are and how we perceive people, our team. Yes, hardship can be difficult, but with practice, like anything, the grandness of hardship can become an art form. In fact, we can change hardship to a different nomenclature called lessons of opportunities. Who says we have to give it that name? When something tugs and pulls on us emotionally, when something doesn't go the way we expect it to go, when something causes us to go into the trenches and come up with some other resources, some other tools and strategies and techniques, why is that called hardship or turmoil or an issue or situation? How come we can't label it a lesson of opportunity, a grand lesson of opportunity? I discovered the way we interpret and translate and give definition to things in our environment, we approach it differently based upon the energy that resonates within us. So we need to give a specific definition that allows us to feel worthy. We need to give a definition that doesn't allow us to feel victimized. We need to give a definition to what we experience and see in our environment that allows us to show our magnificence, to show our resilience, and to explode with this boundlessness. That's the type of definition we need to give. And we are in charge of that. We are in charge of that. Many things may happen in your reality, but what you experience is your own energy of your definition and your interpretation and your translation of those events. You can't experience the event. The event is neutral. You experience your definition of the event. That's the energy. This is why we all give birth to reality. We all do. Mahatma Gandhi said this: belief determines thoughts. Thoughts determines words. Words determines action. Actions determines habits. Your habits determines values, and your values determines your destiny. And all along, you were involved in every one of those stages, every one of those sequences. You are involved in that entire process. You and you alone controls, manages, and navigates and influences that entire process. So the question becomes, what's your reality? What are you giving birth today? It's your choice. We live in a free will, free choice universe. What do you choose today? I discovered as well, if we disengage from the event, we can transition to something greater. If we detach ourselves from all forms of social media, we can transform to something greater. If we disconnect ourselves from our own negative energy, we can transcend to something else. And if we diffuse our explosive nature without the pause, we can even transmute to something completely different. And this is the paradigm shift we are experiencing. And it's a choice. The question is, what do you choose? How do you choose it? How do you plan on showing up today? Today is Wonderful Wednesday. Some people may say today is Whimsical Wednesday. I choose wonderful. Tomorrow is Triumphant Thursday. And Friday is fabulous. Saturday is scintillating, and Sunday is super. Every day is a good day. Every day. I look forward to the weekends, but I also look forward to every moment of every day. They all are beautiful and wonderful. And if we walk in that spirit, if we walk in that space, life is grand. We will have difficulties, but I call them lessons of opportunities. Oh, I experience hardships, but I call them lessons of opportunities. I experience sometimes things that don't go my way, they go awry. There's missteps, misadventures, but they're all considered lessons of opportunities, because there's not one thing that I can experience that does not benefit me. Everything that happens in my reality that I co-create is to bless me. And when I don't see the blessing, I search even deeper, I search harder, and I will find it. I'm determined. Next slide, please. What is our authentic environment? Well, this is what I say. Our authentic environment is our environment that dwells within us. That's who we are. That's where we live. I know some of us have beautiful homes, apartments, condos, cottages, or even if you live in a car, that's your physical environment. But what's your authentic environment? You experience things physically, absolutely, with your senses, absolutely. But where do you truly live? Where do you truly live? You live right here in your heart. In your heart, that's where you live. That's what you experience. So you could be in a palace and still feel despondent and destitute. Or you can live in a car and feel like you have all the treasures in the world. It is your choice. So that is why I ask you, where do you truly live and what do you truly experience? It is you. You experience your own emotions. So yes, Lee Davis is saying you have a relationship with yourself. And when relationships feels good with other people, it's because they allow you to elicit, with your permission, other aspects and attributes of who you are. So you are multifaceted and multidimensional. That's why we like being around people who makes us feel good. What we forgot to understand is that we make ourselves feel good. We give permission for other people to enter to our reality, and we co-create energies and meld the energies so we both walk away feeling magnificent. And it honors both human beings. So your authentic environment is combining your physical environment and your internal environment. And this is where, as a human being, as a leader, you need to bridge both of these worlds. You need to bridge them together, because whatever you bring internally to your team, oh, they will feel it. Oh, guarantee you they will feel it. Can you imagine walking into your team like this? In the morning, arms crossed, someone says, good morning. You look at them, good morning. What type of precedence does that set? What type of energy? What type of role model? What are you conveying to your team? See, as a leader, you have a responsibility and you have an accountability, first and foremost to yourself, to bring your very best day in and day out. I'm gonna ask you this question. If I were to give you $1 million every morning you woke up, and I tell you, the only way you can get this $1 million is that by the end of the day, you go through your day happy. You smile at every person you see. Even if you see them more than once, you smile again. If I said that's the only test You go with a good attitude. You go with good naturedness. Would you do it for $1 million every day? That's all you have to do. You show up with smile. You show up with joy. You show up with gladness. Would you do it? And I will guarantee the answer is absolutely yes. That doesn't really stretch you. And your team will respond magnificently. You'll get the best out of them. They'll have emotional accessibility. They will come to you. There's a trustworthiness. There's enhanced relationships because you brought your very best. Here's the question. Why do you need money to compel you to bring your very best? Why can't you do it? Because you honor who you are and you honor your team. Why can't you do it? Because it is appropriate. Why can't you do it? Because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. This is how you bridge the two worlds. You find the appropriateness between the two, and you honor every human being that comes your way. I personally feel, in fact, I'm convicted that whoever I see, there's a reflection of them within me, whomever it is, from the homeless, the mendicant, to the most prestigious person of who's who in any industry. There's a reflection of them within me. This is how we gain empathy. This is how we enhance our understanding of equity and inclusion. This is how we grow and develop and evolve as a humanity. This is how we revolutionize this paradigm shift. So thoughts are things, people. Thoughts are things, thoughts are things, thoughts are things. This is how you create a reality. There are things. Whatever you think during the day, if you keep thinking these thoughts and fueling them with energy, they will manifest. They will come to life, just like a plant, just like seeds you put in the dirt. If you nurture, cultivate, water, fortify them with all the necessary ingredients, the light, you will get a plant. It doesn't work any differently than your thoughts. They're seeds. You water them, but with energy. Energy may be loving, energy may be full of fear, but you water them. You give them light, or sometimes called an absence of light, we call it darkness, but you give it that as well. So we do the same thing. Thoughts are things. Let us be mindful and conscious of what we think and how we show up and how we fuel our energy. Next slide, please. One of my favorite topics, mindfulness and heartfulness. And I know many of you have heard of mindfulness. What does mindfulness mean to you? What does mindfulness mean to you? You can hear some virtual typing going on. Awareness, yes. Being present, being in the moment. Yes, yes, being in the moment, yes. I love awareness. Trendy, is in vogue. Yes, it is. Very fashionable. Openness, self-love, yes. Being in tune with yourself, absolutely. Time to clear out the bleach, finding the good in oneself and in everyone else, being able to think, connecting. Oh, wow, these are phenomenal, intuitive, insightful, profound answers. Awareness and detachment, being present. Yes, that's mindfulness. So I have 3 questions that I discovered. I watched this fantastic movie. It's called Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I read this book. It was adapted to screenplay when I was in the 8th grade by Dan Millman, called Way of the Peaceful Warrior. And mindfulness, it is trendy and it is in vogue, but it is also all those other things that has been eloquently expressed. It is being there, being mindful, being present, being in the moment. So these 3 profound questions for mindfulness is this: what time is it? A mindfulness modality, mindset would say, it's now. Now is the time, because I'm in the moment. Second question, where are you? A mindfulness mindset or modality would say, well, if I'm in the moment and I'm present, I'm here. And the third question is, what are you? The mindfulness mindset and modality would say, I am this moment. I am this moment. Now let's go to heartfulness. See, I think about heartfulness as a congruent partner, complement to mindfulness. Because without heartfulness, we may be in a moment that we may need to transmute. We may be in a moment that we need to transform. We may be in a moment that we need to transcend. Yes, we are aware of the moment. Yes, we understand the moment. But how do I change the moment? This is where heartfulness comes in. Because I'm so aware of the moment, now I need to change it because I don't like how it makes me feel and I don't want to coexist in this moment any longer. So heartfulness says this. What time is it? A heartfulness perspective is there is no time. Time doesn't exist. Where are you? Well, from the heartfulness perspective, I'm everywhere because I'm full of love and compassion, and that exists throughout this entire universe. And finally, who are you? A heartfulness perspective would say, I am the master within. Who else could I be? This is the brilliance when you meld the two together. We have to have heartfulness because it allows us to transform, transcend, and transmute moments that keeps us at bay, that keeps us from showing our magnificence, that keeps us paralyzed in fear because we have no idea about the outcome. But with heartfulness, we can forecast and predict sunny skies emotionally because we manage with emotional intelligence and relationship intelligence, everything that we co-create. Next slide. Loving yourself, with all of you. How many of you, quick poll, do this, let's say once a week, once every 2 weeks? You get up, you go to the mirror, sometime throughout the day. You look in the mirror, you see your reflection, and you say, you know what? I love you. And you're talking to yourself, and you're looking at yourself. You're looking within yourself, deep in your eyes, and you say, I love you with all of me. And I'm so glad we're together. How many of you do that? And then if you do it, do you check around to make sure no one is watching or listening because you may feel embarrassed? Has anyone ever done that? Never. Okay. Yes, never, never. Once in a while. Okay, excellent. Now, here's the next question. For those who have never done it, I want this. What happens? What do you think will happen? Predict, forecast. If you were to do that every now and then, what do you think is going to happen? You will feel kinder to yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. Get mocked for my narcissism. I will start to believe it. You'll start to believe it. Okay. Excellent. Now, someone who say get mocked for my, I believe the word, I don't see completely, narcissism, feel embarrassed. Loving yourself, paramount. The greatest love of all is the love of self for one very reason. It is the sole reason for living and the sole purpose of life. Baba Makananda said that. We can only love someone else, help someone else, be stewards of service to someone else only when we are loving ourselves completely and unconditionally. And we have forgiveness for ourselves, for our idiosyncrasies, for our quirks, for our nuances. We have to love ourselves. And if someone thinks we're narcissistic, it's okay. They can think that. It's a free choice, free will universe, but never allow it to create bitterness. Never allow you to stop loving who you are. Yes, loving yourself is the greatest love of all. Yes, who cares what others think? You're so right. That's another thing. There should never be a moment in your life where someone else's voice, someone else's opinions, someone else's thoughts or sentiments echoes louder than yours. There should never be. The only thing that should be reverberating in your spirit is your pure love and joy, or whatever you're feeling, even if it's not pure love and joy, even if it's bitterness, even if it's animosity, whatever you're feeling, we'll deal with that. You will deal with that. It is a growing process. We all will travel the same path. We'll experience different things. We'll see different things. We'll create different things. We have a path. It is to know who we are and to express that to our fullest capabilities and to our fullest magnificence. So loving yourself, celebrating yourself, honoring yourself is key. I do it every day. And one of the best ways I can do it is by loving myself through other people. Because I said earlier, wherever I go, I'm still there. And whoever I see, there's a reflection of me within that person. So automatically and instantly, we have a connection. Instantly. So you are definitely magnificent. And I want to say I honor you, I celebrate you, and I'm grateful for you for allowing me to present my personal beliefs, some of the philosophies I use to grow and develop. And I'm glad we had this time together. And we have some time now for us to share some comments, which is good to talk. If you want to chat, that's the end of my presentation. Next slide.
Thank you,
So
Lee.
we can see you are honored, you're magnificent, you're celebrated, and I'm Lee Davidson, Love of Humanity. So if you have something to share, we would love to. I still have 9 minutes left.
So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the screen share, and then people can continue to submit via the chat. I have some comments from questions earlier. Since there are over 200 people on this call, what I'd like everyone to do is if you open your participant window, there's a feature in there where you can, it's on that little more with the ellipses button. You can clap. If you clap, I can scroll through and see who has raised their hand, and then I'll read out your name. So you can go ahead and unmute yourself and then ask your question. I think that just might be easiest since we'll probably have a lot of people who want to comment at the same time. All right. So I have Sunny here. I'm going to unmute you.
Hi, Lee.
Sunny?
Thank you so much for this presentation. It's very beautiful. Do you have any books that you could recommend that have helped aid you on this road to positivity and enlightenment?
Oh, yes, yes. So one of the books I would recommend as a leader to do with your team, and also allows you to kind of self-manage your own personal reality, is called by the Harbinger Group, and it's Self-Deception, Leadership Self-Deception by the Harbinger Group. And it's a phenomenal book, easy read, very profound, but very simple. And it deals with oneself. The first person we lead is always ourselves. So dealing with ourselves, it shows how we can lead others just by being the example with ourselves. It's the first form of team development, is developing oneself. And when does team development start? The moment they apply for the job. When does team development start? The moment we are ready to get someone else. So while we develop ourselves, there's no better way than the team development, because most people learn from what they see their leaders do and how their leaders behave and navigate the team through the organization. So that's one of my favorite books.
Great, thank you. And can you just say Leadership Self-Deception, and who was the author?
Oh, it's by the Harbinger Group.
The Harbinger Group, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lee. It was beautiful spending this hour with you.
Oh, thank you, I'm honored. Thank you so much.
All right, now I have Christine Booker. And then once you've raised your hand, make sure you unraise it so we can see who else is asking.
Good afternoon-ish, morning. I always love hearing your talks. They're very inspirational. One of the things that I have experienced is, and I put it in the chat a little bit, it was like society norms. We're so predisposed to so much negativity, and trying to be that change you want to see sometimes is very difficult, and you become consumed. Like, and I'm speaking from personal experience. Like at work even, like I tried to bring, our team was very disjointed, and I'm the EA for our department. So I tried to bring in like fun things like potluck lunches so we could all kind of get to know each other. But sometimes it's really hard to like be that different person. So what are some things that you do to kind of buck the society norms of negativity?
Excellent, profound question. Very profound. One of the things I do that I come to understand is in order to galvanize a group of people, we cannot lead faster than trust. We cannot lead faster than trust. I know we may have different ideas, different ways of managing, different ways to do something, but the first thing we need to do is earn the trust of a team. One of the best ways to do that is to come there and assimilate ourselves into that culture, into that environment, understand the quirks, try to understand the nuances and idiosyncrasies, try to become one of them in the trenches. And then that's where you develop ties and connections. That's where you have enhanced relationships. And that's where you could become the leader. So now they have already trust you because they like you. You are one of them. And you can slowly, methodically lead them out to a certain pasture, to a certain destination with compassion, with love, with appropriateness, honoring who they are, even if there's resistors, maybe innovators, it's all good because whatever presents itself, it's for the growth and development of yourself and for the team. But you first have to honor who they are and find what they're doing appropriate, even though it may not be the best thing to do or the right thing to do, it is the honorable thing to do. So you can take it to a different level and a different state of awareness.
Thank you. I always find such enlightenment from what you come up with and tell us. Thanks.
Thank you.
So Lee, there was some discussion earlier in the chat, people asking about the different pod offerings and other courses related to this. And I'm wondering, I know that pod is offering, I think some free opportunities, correct me if I'm wrong, during this time, or just what are some classes you'd recommend and different ways people can engage with pod? So, there was some concern about fees for pod as well.
Okay, so on our website, we have a list of courses for the spring quarter that we converted to the online platform, and it has the fees. But these courses that I developed, this is part of our leadership fast track. It was actually kind of something we were thinking about called PodX, where it was experiential. This is something I've been doing since I was a kid. The way I was brought up in Berkeley with my mom, experiencing metaphysics, self-awareness, esoteric wisdom. I've been exposed to this, and it's something that I wanted to bring to university because I think there's such a shortage of this type of approach or mindset or energy or heartfelt perspective. So I created this, and we don't have anything like this in our repertoire of courses. But because there is such a demand now, more so than ever, I wish as a university, without limitations, this could have been ushered in before. So as things come, we are already prepared, as opposed to responding as we go through this. We have created a resiliency from the beginning. But I will definitely ask our fearless leader, Ujima, if we can create more courses like this. I'm more than willing to. I have a plethora of courses like this that I would love to share with those who are willing to listen. And I am so honored that there is a demand for this at the University of Washington, and particularly with this group.
Yeah, there's a lot of love coming through for you and a lot of demand for these type of courses. And for those of you who don't know, Lee and the Whole You are working on kind of creating Lee a special space on the Whole You website too, so that we can continue to engage around resiliency and mindfulness and self-love. So look forward to that. We'll be getting that out in May. There was also a question about I'm trying to figure out how to best phrase the question, but it was about how to navigate depression during this time. And then also kind of talking on the difference between suffering and hardship, if you have any comments on that.
So let's deal with suffering and hardship. And aside from a personal death, that's a completely different type of suffering. And I know Elizabeth Kubler-Ross described in thorough detail the cycles or phases of the emotional roller coaster that we go through from denial to finally to acceptance. But aside from that, because that's something completely different, it requires a different form of energy. Let's deal with the mundane things that affect us. I don't use the word suffering I usually use the word energy exchange. And when we look at it from that perspective, in order to do anything, it requires energy. Everything is energy. And in order to do something, there has to be an exchange of energy. And sometimes that exchange of energy may create a discomfort or unpleasant feeling, or stretches us in some areas that we're unfamiliar with. But all that aside, we still are getting something that we need. For example, my mom shared with me, I've never been pregnant, at least not this lifetime. My mom shared with me during the pregnancy, it was hard for her with all of her 3 children. The exchange of energy of being pregnant, the gestation period, difficult, hard, physically demanding, emotionally demanding, the pregnancy gestation period. After the birth, the blessing, the prize was there. But that was an exchange of energy. She didn't call that other part suffering. It was an exchange of energy. And we always have to understand exchanges of energies is natural, it's universal, it's one of the laws, because energy can't be created or destroyed. Conservation of energy, of course, we use the first law of thermodynamics. And as we understand that, we give different nomenclature to allow us to understand and deal with this exchange of energy better. I work out with weight. It will be sore. I don't call that suffering. I'll call that an exchange of energy. So for the soreness, the muscle grows and develops. So it's just an exchange of energy, and it feels more comforting, more viable and uplifting.
Thank you, Lee. I did have one more question come in. It was asking who said the insightful quote, "Love is the sole reason for living."
And the sole purpose for life? Well, I got that when I was 8 years old, and it's from Baba Muktananda. He's a guru from India who has now passed. He was the first guru from India during the 70s to come from India to Berkeley and created the Siddha Yoga Foundation. He had a little book. He had many books, of course. One of them is called The Play of Consciousness, but that quote came from his little mini tablet, that love is the sole reason for living and the sole purpose of life, from Baba Muktananda.
Thank you. And then also, what was the movie you mentioned, something about the Peaceful Warrior?
It's called Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. It was a book adapted to screenplay. And I read that when I was in the 7th grade. It is a wonderful book, wonderful. And it is also a great movie. And it's on, I believe, Netflix right now.
Oh, perfect. What good time. Thank you, Lee, so much. It's always such an honor to work with you, learn from you. And I'm so excited to just kind of continue the Whole You partnership with Lee Davis, because obviously if you read the chats, there is definitely a need and a joy for all of your content.
Oh, thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, team, to the University of Washington, to everyone who took the time out of their day to listen to me. I'm honored, and thank you so much. I celebrate you from the depths of my being. Namaste.